2 llamas tearing across my backyard, chasing 3 screaming HOA busybodies into a sheriff's vehicle was not how I pictured my weekend. But if you poke a bearer in this case, a former Special Forces vet with a secure gun shed and a pair of highly trained guard llamas, you better be ready to deal with the consequences. My name's Cole Maddox. I moved to Fairview Glen for peace and quiet. What I got was a war. After 15 years in combat zones, I thought suburban life would be simple. My wife, Jen, an elementary school teacher with the heart of a lion, picked the neighborhood. She loved the tidy lawns and community values. I just needed land to build a secured shed for my firearms training business. Permits? Filed. Structure? Reinforced and legal. Everything was by the book. 6 months in, we got Larry and Lulu, our 2 alpacas. Jenna thought they'd add charm. I saw potential in their intelligence and territorial instincts. With a little training, they became our fluffy, silent sentinels. The neighbors loved them. So did their kids. Everything was calm until she moved in. Her name was Diane Crawford. 3 houses down, pastel cardigans, overinflated sense of righteousness. She saw me teaching a self-defense class, unloaded weapons, legal and safe, and decided my shed was a paramilitary compound. Next thing I know, I get a letter from Howard Bell, the HOA president, demanding I tear down my shed or face $100 a day fines. We went to the meeting. Diane called me a threat to public safety. Jenna lit her up like the 4th of July. Told the room how I served this country, followed every law, and how insulting it was to label veterans unstable. The crowd shifted in their seats. Diane stammered, but Howard doubled down. Claimed my shed violated some obscure rule about outbuildings over 100 square feet. Problem is, that rule never existed in the paperwork I signed. I called Ryan Chavez, an old Army buddy turned property attorney. He showed up with a binder full of HOA case law and fire in his eyes. Jenna dug through public records. Turns out Howard had been HOA president for 7 years despite a 4-year term limit. His landscaping company, run by his cousin. Special assessments, unaccounted for. The deeper we dug, the dirtier it got. Then came the night raid. Security footage caught Diane, Howard, and some so-called building inspector named Earl sneaking around our backyard with measuring tape and a clipboard. No notice. No permission. I gave the alert whistle. Larry and Lulu moved like furry cruise missiles straight toward them. The footage of 3 grown adults scrambling into the sheriff's unlocked Jeep while being pursued by llamas? Priceless. I reported the trespassing. No charges yet. But it escalated. Howard sent out an HOA-wide email blast calling me dangerous, claiming I kept exotic animals and unsecured firearms. He even labeled me mentally unstable. My business took a hit. Clients canceled. Jenna was livid. Ryan drafted a cease and desist. But I wanted more than legal threats. I wanted to expose them. We hosted an open house. Invited the entire neighborhood, local law enforcement, even a journalist from the county paper. Deputy Tyler showed up to verify my permits. County Inspector Miriam Reyes checked the shed. Everything passed with flying colors. People met Larry and Lulu, who behaved like angels. The kids were obsessed. Then Diane showed up, in sunglasses like she was entering a CIA op. She tried taking photos. I offered her a tour loudly. She declined. The reporter followed her around, notebook in hand. The community saw the truth. We were just a family trying to live our lives, not militia freaks. Days later, Howard pushed harder, filing complaints with the county and, unbelievably, the ATF. On Friday, 2 federal agents knocked on our door. I cooperated. Showed them everything. My permits, safes, serials. They were impressed. Even joked about hiring alpacas for their field office. Just as the agents were wrapping up, guess who showed up again? Diane, Howard, Earl, lurking by the fence, observing. They stood too close to the llama zone, clearly ignoring the do not approach guard animals working signs. Larry and Lulu didn't hesitate. They locked on like heat-seeking missiles. And someone, probably Earl, had left the gate unlatched. The llamas charged. 3 grown adults running for their lives from 2 alpacas. Earl tripped. Diane screamed. They all dove into the sheriff's Jeep again. I let them marinate while the agents signed off on my compliance. One of them whispered, "This might be the best inspection I've ever had." Sheriff Weston arrived just in time to find 3 HOA clowns barricaded inside his vehicle. He didn't bother hiding his smirk. After that, Earl cracked. That night, he came to my house and handed over a USB full of damning files. Howard had altered HOA rules without votes, embezzled funds, hired relatives, used fines and inspections to target anyone who challenged him. Earl had the receipts of mails, bank transfers, meeting forgeries. We called for an emergency HOA vote. Jenna got the signatures. At the meeting, Ryan laid out everything. I told our story. Earl backed it up. The crowd turned. Someone yelled, "Where's the landscaping money, Howard?" Another, "Why is Diane on the security committee if she's trespassing at night?" Howard tried to spin it. Failed. The board voted him out. Diane moved out within a month, unable to face the neighbors. Civil suits followed. Criminal investigations began. And my shed? Still standing. Now officially compliant under updated, legally ratified guidelines. Larry and Lulu became local legends. They got honorary badges at the summer fair from Sheriff Weston. Neighborhood kids bring them treats. My business is thriving again. But more importantly, Fairview Glen finally became what it pretended to be all along, a real community. I still sit on the porch some nights, watching Larry and Lulu patrol the yard. It's funny. People think strength comes from firepower or lawsuits. Sometimes, it's just two territorial alpacas, a determined veteran, and a wife who won't back down. That's how we took down a suburban dictatorship, one spit-covered HOA president at a time.